What's going on, people? Welcome back to the boxing edition of Gen Sports Corner. Been a little minute since I done my own personal live stream, but no time like the present. Before I get into it, make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel Gen Music 856 over at YouTube. Share the video, share the message, and we're just building over here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the fights that happened this weekend. Two fights that were on of note. Obviously, the one between Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, and then the other one between Zurdo Ramirez and David Benavidez. So let's first talk about Inoue and Nakatani. This is a fight that I've been looking forward to for quite some time now. It's one that I made a few videos on, and I originally predicted that Naoya Inoue would be able to beat Nakatani, but I thought it would be a very good fight. I thought it was a good matchup. Nakatani, at the time of the fight, I think he was somewhere around like maybe the bottom 5 in the pound-for-pound ranking list for, I believe, the ring. I could be wrong, but he was definitely in the top 10, if not maybe sitting at 5 on one or multiple lists. And then Inoue was in the top 3 along with Usyk and then Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford may be off now since he's retired, but they fought over in the Tokyo Dome in Japan. Big fight, not just for boxing, but for Japanese boxing. So whoever won this fight, arguably going to be pound for pound on the ring list in the top 10, or top 5 even. But more importantly, for the pride of Japanese boxing. And I think these two were tailor-made for each other in the sense that they're both phenomenal boxers, and they both have the same mentality. They have the mentality of, we're not just here to win, we're here to get knockouts. We're here to stop guys, we're here to make a statement. And we need more of that in boxing. And guys like Inoue and Nakatani, they embody that. And not just them, but many Japanese fighters. You see some of these undercards for these Japanese fighters or fights over in Japan, and it is straight up action-packed. They want blood, they want excitement, they want action, they want to see somebody get stopped. And that extrapolates or translates up to the major leagues, if you will, with guys like Inoue and Nakatani. So I went and looked at the whole fight. I saw the highlights after the fight, but I went and watched the full video of the fight, and it was a very good fight. It was a high-level chess match between two very, very sharp guys. Inoue, obviously, phenomenal footwork, can close distance, get back out of danger like nobody's business. One of the best in the business in doing that. Phenomenal jab, was just here with it. You know what I'm saying? And he's undefeated. 122, cleared that out. 126, I mean, you're making noise there. And they were fighting for all 4 belts in this fight. All 4 belts. This is a huge fight. And early on in the fight, I was taking some notes, and what I noticed was, I thought that although Nakatani had the skills to compete with Inoue, which is why I was so excited for this fight, I thought he showed Inoue way too much respect early on. And I think that round 1, he was able to establish his offense, and he was pressing the action against Nakatani. And Nakatani, good defense, defensively responsible. But it seems as though, although there weren't many punches thrown in that round or landed in that round, Inoue was responsible for much of the significant action, I would say. And he was able to establish inside position with the lead foot. And that's a theme of the fight game for high-level boxers, especially guys that have opposing stances. So Nakatani being a southpaw and Inoue being an orthodox fighter, they're constantly trying to win the battle of lead foot positioning. That's where everything starts, and you work your way up to the punches from there. But whoever is able to win the battle of positioning and being able to control distance, so having the superior sense of spatial temporal awareness. So spatial, where you're at in space, and temporal, your timing. If you're a master of those two things, then you're going to be very tough to beat. You're going to be very successful at whatever combat sport you do, or whatever sport you do, period. And it was a battle of that in the first round. Second round, I thought Inoue was able to win that round as well. Again, these were not necessarily the most exciting to the casual boxing fan, but it was a high-level chess match. Each guy not trying to give up an inch. Round 3, this round was a chess match, but Inoue seemed to be closing the distance early and often on Nakatani. And while Nakatani was, again, defensively responsible, it just seemed like he was showing way too much respect for Inoue. And he was really just countering or throwing counter shots whenever Inoue would jump in, but he wasn't really catching them that often. And I think he was giving Inoue a chance to start to try to probe and look for openings in his defense a little too much for my liking. But overall, I think the first 3 rounds I had to Inoue, it's not like he was running away with it. It was more like he was setting the pace and controlling the pace at which he wanted the fight to go, which is not what you want as somebody in Nakatani's corner. Round 4, I thought Inoue, this was the round where he started to show flashes of greatness and moments. He began the round with a great 1-1, 1-2. So triple jab and a 2, because he was having a very, very difficult time getting his jab through Nakatani's defense. Junto was keeping that high guard and really making it difficult for Inoue to find any success with that jab. He was flicking the jab out there, but he was not getting it through. So what he did was he said, okay, if I can't get the jab through your guard, I'm going to jab and or feint downstairs. So he threw a jab up top, and then he threw a jab to the body. And as soon as Junto dropped his hands and he came, jab up top and a 2. He used the 1 to the body to drop the guard, and then immediately threw the jab up top. And then before Junto could respond, he came back with a 2 down the pipe. And it wasn't something that shook Junto up, but it was the beginning of a theme. And he had a pretty good round that round. Looking through my notes right here, I said he also had another part of the round that was really good, where he was trying to learn, get his jab through, and Nakatani was either blocking it or avoiding it. And he had one point. Let's see what I was saying. I think there was another point near the end of the round, either this one or the 5th. I can't remember, but he went to the same concept, attacking down to the body to drop the guard, and then immediately going back up top to land shots. So round 4, I think, was very impressive. Junto had some moments, but round 4 was the first one where Inoue was really starting to be able to find a home for his jab at times. Round 5, Inoue controlled the round, landed some good shots. Nakatani landed a good 1-1. And then he followed it up with a 2 that didn't land because he, I think maybe Inoue had outside foot position, but he started to try to find some things. I still gave round 5 to Inoue, but I thought that Junto was starting to try to respond and find some answers for what Inoue was doing, and starting to just not let him just jump in and out like he wanted to. Round 6, this is a round where maybe you could say it was the swing round, possibly. I thought Junto had a great 1-2 with outside lead foot positioning. But it was really round 6 where I think that Junto at least started to make a little bit of headway, whether you thought he won the round or not. And then round 7 is where Junto started to respond. I think it was after round 6 or 7 where his coach Hernandez in the corner told him, yo, we need to really start stepping it up, picking up the pace and finding a way to put pressure on this guy. And they did that in a very smart way and worked behind the jab. And found his way in and really started landing some good combinations in rounds 7 through 10. He started to really ramp it up. And unfortunately for Junto, there was a clash of heads in the end of round 10, maybe? Yeah, I think it was the end of round 10. Another round that he was starting to put pressure on Inoue. And for the first time in a very long time, it seemed as though Naoya was on the retreat a little bit. He wasn't just marching forward. I wouldn't say he was gassed, but it looked like the momentum had started to swing towards Nakatani's way. And the clash of heads in the end of the 10th round was unfortunate because it opened up a cut over Nakatani's eye, and in round 11 the blood started flowing into his eye, and then Inoue was able to have some more success, stepped on the gas a little bit, and he landed one or two uppercuts that seemed to definitely affect Junto. Round 11 was Inoue, and in round 12 was Inoue as well. He was able to close the show out because that cut was becoming a factor. All in all, I had it as an 8-4 fight. I could see how the score could be 7-5 as well, but I had it as a very competitive 8-4. There's an 8-4 type of score where it's clear that one side dominated the fight, and then there's an 8-4 type of score where it's clear that it was the one fighter won, but it was very competitive. So I thought that both fighters increased their stock with this fight. Inoue got one of the best. He got a career win with this one. He clearly earned it, and he showed that he's able to still do what he does against a top caliber opponent. And Junto Nakatani was one of the first guys, maybe the only guy, that not only didn't get steamrolled by Inoue, but was able to compete, and at points looked like he had Inoue not in trouble per se, but it started to turn into his fight. So Junto Nakatani, he was on my radar before, and now he's definitely on my radar. And I'm looking forward to seeing whatever fight he's doing, regardless of who it's against. It could be a rematch against Inoue if that somehow happens. It could be whoever the fuck else. I just want to see him fight again. They both sharp as a samurai sword, pun intended. And they showed out for Japan and for the world on Saturday night. So, you know, kudos to both of those brothers, and great fight. Let me know what you guys thought of the fight. If you saw it, let me know what you thought seeing it live. If you didn't see it, let me know what you thought about the replay or the highlights, and who you thought won, and what you see for each fighter moving forward. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next fight. I know, Ryan, you just joined in. I was talking about the Inoue fight against Nakatani. If you didn't see it, it was a phenomenal fight. I thought Inoue won. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I want to talk about the other fight that was actually on the zone that night, and that was David Benavidez and Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. And listen, we're seeing David Benavidez go up in weight and fighting a dude that was undefeated. I think Zurdo was 42-0, if I'm not mistaken, or 42-1. And Zurdo had been making his name at super middleweight 168 for years. Zurdo was just sitting there doing his thing. Nobody could really beat him at that weight. And then he went up to next weight class, and I did not predict this fight because just knowing both fighters, I did not see a way that Zurdo was going to beat Benavidez. The hand speed's not there. Defensively, he's solid, but it's not going to be good enough to deal with the type of offense that Benavidez is going to bring, the power that he brings. And he ended up stopping Zurdo in the 6th round and landed a combination that looked like it took the fight out of Ramirez, and then he took a knee and he couldn't continue. So, listen, David Benavidez, he can only fight who's in front of him, right? Can't fight Canelo because Canelo's avoiding him like the plague. Canelo fighting Jaime Munguia and everybody else except him, and then eventually had to choose between him and Crawford. So, I mean, he couldn't get the fight with Canelo. But what is potentially on the horizon for David Benavidez, talks are already underway for a fight between him and Dimitri Bivol. That, I'm intrigued. I hope that fight happens, because Benavidez has been talking about possibly going up to heavyweight to eventually fight Usyk. Who knows if or how that may happen. But he talked about Bivol as well. I don't know if he sparred him before or not, but he seemed familiar with him from some of his previous conversations and seemed like he was eager to fight Bivol. So I think that's a way better matchup than Canelo and Bivol was. Now Bivol and Benavidez, now that's a very good fight. That's a very good fight. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's a matchup I would love to see at light heavyweight. 175, you try to get a belt there from Bivol. I mean, now you're in discussions to try to claim that division if you can get that fight and win. So excellent job by Benavidez. And then let me know what you guys think about Benavidez and who you want to see him fight next. And then lastly, I want to talk about the Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao situation. The current fight, the rematch, officially got switched from the Las Vegas Sphere because there's going to be a concert there. And calls to the representatives for Pacquiao and Team Pacquiao and Team Mayweather did not respond to questions about when the fight would be happening, if it's still happening, where it's going to be at. So a lot is up in the air with that fight. That's not something I'm necessarily super excited about, but it's definitely big news. A lot of people were planning to tune in, and now the fight may not happen. Additionally, Mayweather has been having a lot of financial problems. Unfortunately, the IRS put a lien on him in the past month for, I think, around, it might have been, it's definitely 7 figures. I don't know if it's 1 million or 7 million, or I forgot the number, but that's potentially going to complicate his ability to have exhibition or tune-up matches in preparation for this potential fight with Pacquiao, because now he may not be able to leave the country. When the IRS has a lien on you, the government will start limiting what you can do financially, including where you can travel to. So the fight with the exhibition with Mike Tyson may be in jeopardy. Not that I wanted to see it anyway, but any moves that he's trying to make are going to be severely hampered or compromised by the financial situation he's in. So, listen, although I've been critical of Floyd Mayweather over the years for the way that he's, I would say, traversed throughout his career in terms of his matchmaking and the people he fought and when he fought them, although I have not necessarily been thrilled with the way he flaunts his wealth, you never want to see somebody in a position where they can lose everything, or everything they've worked for and built is being compromised to the point it can crumble. And all you can do is I hope that whatever he's going through, he can find some sort of reasonable resolution to it. And if he does have spending habits that are out of control, hopefully this is a wake-up call. We're seeing worse go on with Adrian Broner right now. The Broner situation is a really sad situation. Look, brash, braggadocious, arrogant, early and often, AB about billions. And now he's at the point where he's not able to stay disciplined and stay in shape to be able to fight anymore at a high level. And it seems like every time I look on social media, there's something about his financial status that is doesn't seem to be good. So I really hope that he gets the help he needs, cut the drinking, cut the bad habits, focus on family. Excuse me. Get back to doing the things that you love. You just had Dean the Great on, Dean the Great at working out with him. It would be better for him to be in the gym, working on his craft, or working with others who are passionate about boxing or want to be great boxers, and staying in the gym and doing that, man. You had the potential to be great, and regardless of what people think about his career, that never leaves you. The hunger, the passion, the ability, and I hope that he finds that. I hope he finds the discipline to be able to lean into those things more. I really do. So that's my thoughts about boxing and what's been going on. You know, the Inoue fight with Nakatani, obviously Benavidez with the big win over Zurdo, and his plans moving forward. And then what's going to happen with this Mayweather Pacquiao situation, we'll find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. But with that being said, I'm going to get ready to watch the Flyers game tonight, Game 3 against the Carolina Hurricanes, and dropped a tough one in Game 2. Unfortunately, thought Travis Konecny had a chance to win it on that fast break, just couldn't get it done. But this is a young up-and-coming Flyers team that, regardless of how this series turns out, do I want them to win? Obviously, but even if they don't, hopefully this can be a stepping stone towards them building this into something even better. Because make no mistake about it, the Carolina Hurricanes, they were in a similar spot a few years ago as an up-and-coming team, and they grew together, they gelled together, and look at them now. So you have a great goalie in Darth Vladar. You have young pieces with Porter Martone. You have Forster. You still have Coots as your captain. You still have Travis Konecny, who can be a high-level scorer. They need to... obviously, you have Michkov, who, although he's been up and down, he still has the potential to be a superstar. I think it's a discipline issue with him, both with the penalties that he takes, the boneheaded penalties, as well as coming into the season in shape. When you don't come into the season in shape, and all of a sudden you get to the later parts of the season and the playoffs, if you go there and you don't have as much in the gas tank as you think you should, or as you should going into these critical moments. So this is a learning experience for this whole team, but hopefully they're able to go ahead and get Game 3, get that back, and be competitive this series. Same thing goes for the Sixers. Sixers dropped a tough one near the end against the Knicks. Knicks made a lot of mistakes, but the Sixers made a lot of mistakes down the stretch too. Maxey didn't have his best game down the stretch. Does it mean he's a bad player? No. Do you need to hold him accountable? Yes. He's at that point in his career. That happens sometimes. Let's see how Maxey bounces back, with or without him being in the lineup. And again, another young team. Maxey and Edgecombe may be the best backcourt in the NBA in 1 to 2 years' time. These are the breaks right now. This is where you learn. This is where you're forged in the fire, in the crucible. How do you come out of that fire? We're going to find out. But either way, I'm enjoying this series. I hope they're able to beat the Knicks. If they don't, again, use this as a stepping stone towards next year for growing into the team that I think they can be. Because the Sixers and the Flyers have the potential to be great teams in this city with the young talent to keep this trajectory going. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to look at this game, and let me know what your guys think about the fights, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, yeah, be sure to tune in to Jack of All Trades podcast. Me and the homies, Tom and Jamal, every week, talking about sports and everything going on around the globe, whatever it may be, and giving y'all our feedback and our thoughts. With that being said, stay blessed and enjoy the rest of your night. Peace.